30 years.
So you started out writing, then you got scared, went to features,
Yeah.
and you got so scared you went to New Vision. But we'll come back to that. David, Susan mentions self-censorship. I recall you used to write a column in the Monitor.
Yes.
What happened?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. Yes, I was a columnist, a regular columnist, at the invitation of David Spire Sepuya. And I was given free rein to write about anything and everything that I fancied. And I wrote under the headline, the byline, Politics of Common Sense. So a lot of what I used to write about was analysis of ongoing events to help us understand trends. That was partly my goal. Eventually I realized at the behest of some prodding that I was writing about the same things, but just using different examples. Eventually I've put this into a book, but I've not come to plug my book here. The seeming endless cycle of repetitive events in our politics, which reflect, in my view, underlying and hidden dysfunctions, certain inconvenient truths that we rather not confront. I'll start from the most basic and the biggest elephant in the Ugandan room, which is Uganda itself. The Honorable, the Chief Justice, talked about being a member of the Constituent Assembly, which determined the 1995 Constitution. And the first schedule of that Constitution sets out in very longhand the boundaries of Uganda by description of where the boundaries of Uganda lie and how they run. I think they use surveyor's language. I've never heard or met any member of the Constituent Assembly say that they sat and had a debate about that to determine whether this line should move a little bit to accommodate more people or to leave some people who'd like to go free. That schedule was imposed and remains as it is. The unhappiness that line, which was not drawn by any of our ancestors here, well, maybe the ancestors of some of our guests, but certainly not ours, the injustice and the problems that those lines have caused to people all over, West Nile, Northern Uganda, Western Uganda, Eastern Uganda, Central Uganda, name it, is generally not spoken about. We put it somewhere away, and my column generally tried to bring out, again without shocking anybody, the outlines of this elephant, to say, can we sit and discuss why we are in this repetitive situation? Or shall we just continue to say there's been violence here, there's poverty there, there's that kind of thing? Now eventually, when I realized that I didn't have enough bandwidth to keep saying the same things or be able to go into the kind of detail that I wanted, exercise my free speech and also have the liberty after speech, I decided that I'd stop writing, and I compiled these columns into a book, which I thought I'd put out some of the ones that were the most timeless, so that as we run through various things and certain things are happening to us, we can read and realize that we discussed this very point in 2011. We discussed this point in 2014. We came to this junction in 2020. And what did we do each time we came to this junction? We pretended that it was the first time we'd ever seen this thing. We were shocked, we reported it. Some of us asked, how did we get here? And then we went about talking about Tiwa Savage's concert and all sorts of other distractions and forgot. And I think that, to my mind, is the challenge that I would give to Monitor at 30, the first challenge I'd give to Monitor at 30, that 30 years is a good enough sample, if you've just been taking a sample on a daily basis, of all the vital signs of this nation. You've got its temperature on a daily basis, its high blood pressure on a daily, its blood count, and all these other signs daily. Surely you can describe the syndrome that is afflicting this nation. It can't be that each day you're talking about fever, or each day you're shocked by low blood count, and then the other day there's sugar going up. You must be able to say that we're suffering from this. And I think that we owe...
Sorry?
What
are we suffering from?
Well, we're suffering from many things, but I think one of the biggest problems, as I said, the biggest elephant in the room, is we don't have a nation as such. We have a geographical expression with a bureaucracy, an armed bureaucracy at the center of it, based here, which still holds largely as a government, but we have the trappings of government don't make a nation. I must feel, it's one of the things that has been quoted again and again, I said on Twitter one time, if my little finger can go out to work when my tooth is aching, I'm not a human being. When I have toothache, I lie. The whole of my body lies down. I pray for morning to come, because toothache for some reason never comes in the middle of the day. It comes late in the night. I pray for morning to come, and I head to the dentist, because my tooth, which takes up less than 1% of the mass of my body, is aching. If we can't feel each other's pain, we're not a nation, we're a group of people. If there's hunger in Karamoja or war in northern Uganda and a celebration of Tweva Kotulo here, we're not in a nation. If there's I need to understand and empathize and be part of all the parts of this nation. And I think independent media, Monitor being one of the leading media houses, needs to really drive that effort. It needs to be about humanizing everything that happens. We need to understand each other. We need to facilitate talking with each other as opposed to at each other. And we need to find ways of building and consolidating those things that make us commonly human. If I can alienate and completely block out somebody because they were a different color from me, or they're a different religion from me, or they come from a different region from me, I'm missing out on so many things. If I get to understand that, whether I'm red, blue, yellow, or whatever, green, I need to talk about fuel prices, and I need to talk about fuel prices in a way that enables us to solve that situation. I need to talk about school fees. I need to talk about the curriculum. I need to talk about healthcare, because we're all one healthcare crisis away from bankruptcy or from premature death if you can't be flown out of the country. All these things are the things that I'd call politics of common sense. And then we can have the luxury of, oppositional politics that, pitches people over issues like Roe v. Wade or tax, the commonalities in these other the so-called developed democracies are the large unspoken things, and a lot of that has been driven by independent media and can be done here.
I'll have you know that if you want your